Last week I showed you guys my brand new project. Of course it is the new Transporter from Volkswagen, but I also shared with you what I can only describe as the ill treatments from the dealership pre and post that fateful collection day. That video has gone down an absolute storm for one reason or another. I have been totally overwhelmed with comments from you guys. Many people vicariously furious at the condition that I received this brand new van. But second to the comments on bird poop gate was the cost. In that video, I revealed that I've just paid over £50,000 for the new Volkswagen Transporter. In this video, I'm going to give you the reasons why. And please listen to the literal words that I'm saying, because believe it or not, I do choose them wisely. In this video, I am going to give you the reason why this build cost 53,070 and 65 pence. I'm not, in fact, going to attempt to justify the cost. I'm going to show you what I ordered. You can, in fact, get the new Transporter for around £38,000 on the road, I believe. I've added lots and lots of things to this build because this is going to be my dream build. And before we do get going, very quickly, please remember that upon watching this video, you have not in fact spent any money. Trying to find a nice angle to film from. I am struggling, if I'm honest, at the moment. Let's talk about the base van. I've got some figures here because you can get on the road for a lot less in the new Transporter than what I paid. The Commerce, which we would all know as the start line, that is £38,620. Still a chunk of change. The Commerce Plus, which that is, we would probably all know that to be the high line. It comes with a lot of extras bundled up in a package, colour-coded bumpers, which ironically I opted out of because I have plans, and loads of other little goodies. I'm not going to claim to know the configurator inside out, but I took a good look at it and I thought, yep, I am going to jump up to a Commerce Plus because it is in fact well worth it. If you turn that Commerce Plus into an 8-speed auto, it goes from £40,060 with no extras to £44,500. So it's a £4,500 jump to turn it into the 8-speed auto. It is then another jump of £3,000 if you want to turn that into a 4Motion, which that is. So that doesn't sound too bad, but if you're jumping from a manual to an 8-speed 4Motion, that seems like it's a £7,500, £8,000 jump, which it is. But if you're going automatic, it's only £3,000 more to turn that auto into a 4Motion. So for me, that is a no-brainer. Massive jump between manual and all-wheel drive, don't get me wrong, but if you're automatic, got to consider all-wheel drive, surely. And then you've got the Pro, 42,700, and that is for a standard Commerce Pro. That comes with even more goodies packaged up. I didn't see the value in it because it offered you some lovely alloy wheels that I would never keep. It's all about being color-coded, which I actually opted out of. I didn't see the value in going up to a Commerce Pro. I opted to add loads of goodies after the original base van, and that's what I've done, and now I'm going to show you what they are. Once again, to reinforce, I am not justifying the cost, I am giving you the actual reason why this vehicle costs 53,070 and 65 pence. Is that the correct way to say that? I don't know. What you got to remember in amongst that is there is in fact a £780 delivery charge. No matter where that's coming from, it's the same when it was in Hanover. And yes, it's made in Turkey and that's going to hit on a few people. But regardless, you have to pay that. It has to get delivered. And then you've got the registration fee, which is only £55. But then you've got a year's road tax included. You pay for it, but it is in the cost. So that on this vehicle is £345. So you're close to 1,300 quid on stuff that you don't see and you don't get. That's just the courtesy of having the vehicle brought to you, the on-the-road price. Then you've got my extras. The light and vision package, £2,502. That is a massive optional extra, but they are absolutely beautiful. They have that IQ light technology. When you're driving down the road and it's dark, it'll put the full beams on by itself, and then if it senses a car coming the other way, it will dip them. And also, Andy at Transport HQ was telling me, he seems to think that if you're behind a vehicle, it will kind of dim down that forward projection, so you're not blinding the car in front. But if it's really, really dark, it will project the light sideways. Really, really clever, really, really nice. And it's something that I then don't have to do in the aftermarket when they finally come out. I've got no doubt in my mind, Transporter HQ will be bringing these out for the Commerce or something close to an LED upgrade, super, super bright, but mine are already on there. I don't even have to think about it. And it comes with LEDs to the rear. Usually, I believe that panel there is part of the light cluster and has lights in it, but mine has this color-coded panel because they are, don't know if they'll turn on, they are full LED. They look fantastic. Let's go for a bit of a quick fire round, POV style. Anything that was under 150 quid, I pretty much opted in for. This is going to be my dream build. A one-man wagon for me. I didn't want any regrets, no more than I already have. 70 litre fuel tank. The original one is 55, £40 plus VAT. Why wouldn't you? Exterior mirrors power adjustable. Now I don't know if that is press the button and they move left to right on the inside, or the fact that they fold up, but they do fold up. That was £40 plus VAT. I've got the connection pack on the inside. I'll take you inside shortly. That's £160. Not quite sure what that is. I think it's like 5 added USBs. There's USBs absolutely everywhere. It's gorgeous in there. We have got the rear tailgate. That is £0. You've just got to opt in for it. Bulkhead delete. That is £0. You've just got to ask for it. Bike carrier. The bike carrier is, I believe, around £900. So when I say the van is £53,000, you can take £1,000 off of that for a bike carrier. Once again, these I don't think exist to buy after the fact. I was going to turn that into a bit of a wheel carrier. I've opted to go down a different road. So that is in fact up for sale. And as you can see, we have the tow bar from factory with the electrics ready to go. They do a power adjustable one. It comes out like that. That was around £900. That was £525. I don't mind that being on display all the time. Just makes it look a bit more badass. And if someone was to crash into you or you reverse into something, that takes the whack first, which is a very cynical, negative way of looking at things, I know, but true. We have power sliding door to side load compartment, I think is what they actually call it. That is £600 plus VAT. You don't have to have that. I've got one on the Sprinter and I love it. As soon as I saw that, I had to have it because when you are camping, I know there's a little ding dong. How nice is that as opposed to bang? I have what Volkswagen called the off-road package. Of course, if I see something that says off-road package, I want it. You don't get much for it. £245 for the off-road package. And if I'm honest, you don't get loads for it. You get some mud flaps, which are about the size of a playing card. I'm not saying that size matters, but size matters. In addition to that poor attempt at mud flaps, you get this underbody protection for the engine. Blink and you'll miss it, so much so that I contacted the dealership and asked, are you sure I even have underbody protection? What does a standard van come with? And it turns out it comes with a piece of carpet, which apparently is more than the Transit gets. I don't think the Transit gets anything. I'm not saying carpet is the correct answer. I think that that should just be a given, that you want to protect the underside of your engine. But that's just me. So the vehicle has got parking sensors and it also has a rear camera. So as soon as you initiate reverse, you get this lovely clear picture of behind. It's got the lines and you can even see the tow bar. I'm yet to tow with this at the moment, but I'm pretty interested to see what goes on because I'm not the best trailer maneuverer in the world, but that's going to aid that. High level plastics. I ticked the box because it was £120. I didn't know what I was going to receive, if I'm honest. I was hoping that it would be a gesture towards cleaning up the fact that I've had the bulkhead delete. I thought I was going to get a bit of plastic around there. That was my dream. Unfortunately, that's left a bit like a dog's dinner. I think I'm going to have to definitely look into getting them covered up. But that was what high level plastics got. Definitely opt out of any kind of ply lining. Don't let them do that, even if it's free, because what they do is just screw it straight into the bodywork of the van and you'll be forever regretful of that. Opted, and I believe it was under £100 for the cargo area to have these super bright LEDs, I believe it is. I may incorporate them into the actual build and have them still remaining on as kind of like entrance lights somehow. I just like the idea of them being LED. And also, because it was about 50 quid, I believe, I've got this little button here, which I can use for anything in the future, I guess. And that brings on 2 extra cargo lights. Once again, as a camper working out the back here, that is a lovely addition. You just have to remember that the power is being sourced from the vehicle's battery, so not something that you would want to leave on forever. Oh, and also, I opted for this, which is a little cigarette lighter, because, well, why not? Because when you opt for stuff like that, what you got to remember is you now have a 12-volt supply at the back of the van. So even if you wanted to use that as an ignition live or anything like that, for the cost, just add it. Because even if I use that housing, but then run that off of a Clayton, it's just, honestly, anything under £100, I just put it on the never never. Just tick that box, tick, 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 tick. As I mentioned, the rear camera is there as part of the parking, because a lot of people complained and said, is it like the Transit where it's there? Well, that thing in there is something entirely different. I opted for the single seats from factory, of course. I've ended up with this upholstery, which no one knows what it is or how I've ended up with it, but they're heated and I've got the extra lumbar support there. The support there, they're really, really comfortable. They've got a really nice bulky back to them, even from standard. The van itself, I know I've come from a T6, but I think it is beautiful. Because this is the Commerce Plus, all of this is in piano black as opposed to just the kind of textured plastic, so it takes the edge off of all the plastic. I somehow have ended up with these like little chrome bits here and these lovely little brushed kind of aluminium style extras there. Same down the side. As I said in my regret video, because that's what we're calling it, the guy didn't know how I've ended up with these added extras. Part of it, I believe, is the fact that it's a plus. But once again, anything that I thought would make the interior nicer, I ticked. There is a cheeky, and I'm going to have to turn the face tracker off, but hopefully you can see it. There is a cheeky USB there. So if you wanted a dash cam, you can add your camera there. Haven't got a tracker wire, absolute genius. You can have a little, very, very small little wire to a little windscreen mounted camera. Over the other side, you wouldn't be able to see it. Fantastic idea. I, however, have this thing which is called a breakaway dash camera. I'm not totally sorted it out yet, but this is not only a dash cam which records events such as parking events, so front camera, that's probably eventually potentially got me walking around, I don't know, but any kind of parking event. But then also, you're not going to see much, but it has that rear camera that I was telling you about. That's what that is. It's called the breakaway dash cam. You get that front and rear. Obviously on this vehicle, all I'm doing is staring directly at the bike rack. But check this out. That is now a rear view mirror. You can see me in there. Ever had a classic car or an older car? Do you remember this little thing that you used to pull down? And I thought it was, if the car behind you is dazzling you, you pull that down and it kind of moved the mirror so it didn't dazzle you anymore. Well, when you do that on this, that becomes that rear camera. So if it wasn't staring directly at a bike rack, and I'm probably going to relocate that in the future, that would be the image looking backwards. So you look in that and you think you're looking at a rear view mirror, when in fact, you've got a solid back door. That's cool. I have opted for, they call that a single DIN. So DIN, a bit like that would take a car stereo, that's the size. I will in fact probably mount a light bar panel up there, such as an aux beam or something like that. You can opt for that to be a little bit sleeker, but I thought make use of that space. Even if I did a diesel heater panel, just like I did in the T6, valuable space. The additional USBs, now I don't know what this van would come with, but I've got USB-A, USB-C, cigarette lighter, then got two there, two USB-Cs, and then also in there, there's another pair. So you won't be wanting for places to put things on charge. It has a cup holder here. Now you'll probably notice that I haven't got the double jut out, which some people have. Oh, that is a wireless phone charger in there, which is good because you pop your phone in there, no cables, doesn't look ugly, but also it means you can't be accused of touching it if it's up here because we have Apple CarPlay. Getting back to it, didn't want the jut out there because, like I said in previous videos, I want to be able to cut through to the back and not knock my knee on the way through. This feels absolutely lovely. On top of that, the handbrake is there and not a cable one that's down by your feet, which is cool. And the gear stick is on the stalk here, so we haven't got to contend with that in this area. Driving this van, I'm sorry to say this to any kind of people that are Volkswagen purists and stuff like that, knocks the spots off that T6. It's a brand new van, it's going to, it's empty, it's on standard suspension and standard wheels, I appreciate all of that. But the drive itself is auto, it's got loads and loads of power, and what they did do at the dealership, after I put up enough fuss, was they filled it up with fuel. I've got 86 miles range left, and it's done 529 miles. So that is a decent return. And obviously I've got the 70 litre tank, haven't I? So he took me to the fuel station, used the company fuel card, got back in and saw this whacking great range. And he was like, have you got the extended fuel tank? I was like, yep. I see a lot of people have complained about the cup holders on the Ford Transit / Volkswagen T7. How much coffee do you actually need? Because that is the Yeti Rambler, which is the cup I've always had. I've not ordered that special for this video by any stretch of the imagination. And it fits in there an absolute dream. It's miles away from the glass. I'd actually probably say it's further away from the glass than it is in the Transporter. It fits an absolute dream. I don't know what size cup people are hoping to travel with. If that orifice was any bigger, us mere mortals might not even touch the sides. Oh, not again. People are saying that the interior is like plasticky. I like it. I like the wipe down plastic because I've got a boy and I like to take my vans down muddy places and stuff like that. I want it to be as wipe downable as possible. So the interior for me is a massive upgrade. It's quiet, everything feels strong, it feels like it works. I mean, this will no doubt break in time, but it feels a lot sturdier than the one that I've got in the Mercedes Sprinter. Connectivity is absolutely fine. It worked straight away, instant every time I get in it. And the speaker, the hands-free, people that I speak to often while I'm in the van, they have noticed it massively. Obviously we're open here, we've got no bulkhead, that would make a difference again, but once that's converted or at least sound deadened, it'd be a totally different ball game. There's 3 cup holders actually, in fact, because there is a cheeky little one up there. The only thing that I wish, in fact, is that they would put a cover or a lid on some of that, because I've taken that out of my pocket now because it was digging into my pocket, but I wouldn't want anything up there. But if that had a lid, a bit like that one, I would consider using it. So that, to me, short of maybe throwing a cap up there when I'm at a show or something like that, bit of a dead space for me, that. So that is the reason why this vehicle cost me 53,065 pence, because I opted for the automatic and the 4Motion and the Commerce Plus, and I stuck £6,000 worth of extra additions to it, including a £1,000 bike rack. So I'm not totally tapped, even though I might be totally tapped. I've ordered a lot now so that I don't have to later. Once again, remember, you haven't spent any money. Thanks once again for watching. Do follow this build, because I am going to take this to the absolute next level. Things that nobody's done to a Transporter yet, let alone T6s, 5s and 5.1s and 6.1s and things like that. This is going to be a totally different kettle of fish, I can tell you now. And I'm super excited.